Yo, what is good, folks? It's your boy Sports PSP. Hope everyone's enjoying a fantastic day. Before you check out the rest of the video, please make sure that you like and subscribe to the Sports PSP podcast and new episodes of the Sports PSP podcast every Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. But man, I got to talk about the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow. I'm reading an article from ESPN's Ben Baby. Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow will undergo toe surgery, Coach Zach Taylor said on Monday, and it will sideline him a minimum of 3 months, sources told ESPN's Adam Schefter. Burrow suffered a turf toe injury in the first half of Cincinnati's game Sunday against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Images of his left toe were sent to noted foot specialist Dr. Robert Anderson to be reviewed, sources told Schefter. With Burrow sidelined for the majority of the season, the Bengals are expected to turn to backup Jake Browning as their starting quarterback. A potential surgery date is yet to be determined, Taylor said. A timeline for the next step in the process should be finalized within the next couple of days. And also, the Cincinnati Bengals, in addition, they placed Joe Burrow on IR, injury reserve. So what are my thoughts about Joe Burrow missing a substantial amount of time, 3 months? You can make the argument that the season is over for the Cincinnati Bengals because without Joe Burrow, how is Cincinnati going to compete? Because if you look at the Bengals' schedule, I mean, week 3, okay, they go on the road to Minnesota. Minnesota is going to have to go without J.J. McCarthy. Carson Wentz, the backup, will come in. Then week 4, Monday Night Football, ABC, ESPN. They have to face the Denver Broncos. Then week 5, they have a home game against Detroit. Then after that, they have to go on the road to Green Bay. Then after that, on a short week, they have a home game, Thursday Night Prime on Amazon Prime against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then week 8, week 9, week 8, they got the Jets at home and they got the Bears at home. Then week 10, they have their bye. Week 11, they got the Steelers on the road. Then week 12, they got they have a home game against the Patriots. Week 13, which is Thanksgiving night, NBC, nationally televised, on the road to Baltimore. Then the week after that, they go on the road to face Buffalo. Then the week after that, a home game against Baltimore. Then on the road to Miami, and their last 2 games to be determined. The last 2 games, they face the Cardinals and the Browns, both home games to be determined because we don't know the times for those dates. But that's a story for another day. My thing is, look, Cincinnati, and considering Joe Burrow's durability history, because he's had durability problems. You know, his rookie year, year 4, I mean, he suffered a wrist injury, which sidelined him for the rest of the season. He suffered it, I believe it was week 11 against the Baltimore Ravens. He tore a ligament in his wrist. And now, with the turf toe injury, the Cincinnati Bengals have not done their part by protecting Joe Burrow as far as giving him offensive line. They've done their part by giving him weapons, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Chase Brown. I get all of that. And it's great for a quarterback to have those types of weapons. But just as valuable as those weapons, it's nothing compared to the offensive line. As the big fella, undisputed world champ. And please make sure you like and subscribe to his podcast, as well as Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and so much more. He always says it on my pod, as well as his pod and others. The quarterback cannot throw on his back. Now, granted, Joe Burrow does hold on to the football a little too long, which is with a lot of quarterbacks, because a lot of quarterbacks do improvise and take unnecessary chances. But Joe Burrow, throughout his career, in his 6 years in the NFL, he has been sacked 201 times. 201 times, which is 33 and a half sacks per season. I mean, you look at it with Joe Burrow. I mean, every single year, the amount of sacks that he has taken, yes, that's also on him because he does hold on to the football too long. But my God, 201 sacks. Let's look at it. His rookie year, he was sacked 32 times in 10 games. His sophomore year, the year he helped the Bengals get to the Super Bowl, 51 times. He was the most sacked quarterback in 2021. 2022, he was sacked 41 times. 2023, 24 times in just 10 games. Last year, 48 times in just 2 games, 5. Joe Burrow is right now the modern version of Andrew Luck. He is, because considering the amount of punishment he has taken, his durability history, we don't know how long he's going to last. And you got to look at Andrew Luck, because just like Joe Burrow coming out of college, Andrew Luck, a generational talent, number 1 overall pick, had a promising future had not been for injuries. And he had to retire after 7 years in the NFL. I'm afraid if Joe Burrow doesn't leave Cincinnati, or if the Bengals cannot protect him, cannot give him an offensive line, Joe Burrow's going to retire sooner than later. That would be another travesty. I mean, you had Andrew Luck retire. You had Luke Kuechly retire. Imagine in Cincinnati, that's a moribund franchise for so long. I mean, the consolation prizes, you've had Ken Anderson, you've had Boomer Esiason, you had Carson Wentz. Heck, if you're Joe Burrow, since you wear number 9 just like Carson Wentz, would you consider pulling off a retirement? And then hopefully some team out there who's in desperate need of a quarterback acquires you? If I'm Mike Brown, who's known for being a cheap owner, a notorious cheap owner, I got to do what I can to protect Joe Burrow, because he's been the greatest thing that's happened to me. If I'm the Bengals, even though I'm 2-0, do you consider tanking the rest of the season to hopefully eventually get you a top draft pick and draft an offensive line? Something that the doctor recommended? Because that's what you should do. But you don't want to lose. You don't want to give up on the rest of the team, the players. Cincinnati has to really make a decision. Should they consider tanking the rest of the season to get themselves a top draft pick, draft an offensive line to protect Joe Burrow, their biggest priority? They should. Or, I understand you don't want to tank because you don't want to show a loser mentality. You want to compete, put yourself in the best position possible to get to the playoffs. But 3 months without Joe Burrow, the schedule I just detailed, and how is Joe Burrow going to be when he comes back from injury? It's highly unlikely that the Bengals miss the playoffs. It's highly likely that the Bengals will miss the playoffs, and they're possibly going to get a top 5, top 10 pick. And if they end up getting a top 5, top 10 pick, hey, I use it to draft offensive line. I don't know what they are in cap space, but they paid a crap ton of money for Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And they had to take care of Hendrickson. So I don't know what Mike Brown is going to do. But I would consider tanking the rest of the season if I'm Cincinnati to get yourself offensive line to protect Joe Burrow. Because if I don't, Joe Burrow's career is going to be done a lot sooner than we know it. Or another horrible scenario for Cincinnati, he demands a trade. And he goes elsewhere. And he wins a Super Bowl. Kind of like how Matthew Stafford left Detroit to go to Los Angeles. And that would be another stain on the Bengals' legacy. But those are my thoughts. I think the Bengals, if they don't have enough money in cap space, and I don't believe Browning is going to be good enough for them to win that many games, and we got to wait and see with Joe Burrow, they should consider tanking the rest of the season. Now, I'm not saying they should do it, but they should consider. They should consider. But anyway, those are my thoughts. What do you think that the Cincinnati Bengals should do? Should they shut down Joe Burrow for the remainder of the season? Should they tank the rest of the season and get themselves a top pick and draft offensive line? Or they should do whatever they can to compete and win. And when Joe Burrow is healthy, he comes back in. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. It's your boy Sports PSP. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.